Hey, movie lovers, we all love a great classic film, and whether it's the iconic performances, the unforgettable soundtracks, or the amazing storytelling, some movies are just too perfect to be touched. But Hollywood, with its constant trend of remakes, reboots, and revivals, often gets the urge to put a fresh coat of paint on these legendary films. But let's be real, not all movies need a makeover. In fact, some should be left untouched, preserved in time like vintage wine, never to be altered. Today, we're diving into a list of 10 movies nobody wants to see a remake of. These films have become such staples of pop culture that even the idea of a remake would be met with groans, eye rolls, and full-on outrage from fans across the globe. So let's get into it, and you might just agree with us. Number 1. The Godfather 1972. Let's kick things off with an obvious one, The Godfather. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola, this mafia epic is one of the most critically acclaimed films of all time. From Marlon Brando's iconic performance to the unforgettable lines, The Godfather is a cinematic masterpiece. So why would anyone want to touch it? A remake would never live up to the original. The depth, the performances, and the cultural impact are things that can't be replicated. Plus, The Godfather is one of those rare films that already feels perfect. Imagine someone else trying to fill Marlon Brando's shoes. It's just not going to happen. A new cast, new director, new script. It would feel like a cheap imitation of something that was already timeless. Leave The Godfather as is, folks. Number 2. Back to the Future 1985. Back to the Future is the quintessential time travel film, with Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly and Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown. This movie defined an entire generation's concept of time travel. The special effects were groundbreaking and the story, pure genius. Could a remake possibly capture that magic? Doubtful. The 80s charm, the soundtrack, the iconic DeLorean, it's all too perfect to reimagine. Sure, Hollywood might try to bring back the DeLorean, but without the dynamic between Fox and Lloyd or the heart of the original story, it's not going to have the same impact. And let's be honest, who would even want to see a different Marty? No one. Number 3. Jaws 1975. Jaws isn't just a film about a shark terrorizing a beach, it's a cultural phenomenon. Directed by Steven Spielberg, it set the standard for suspense and horror, even without showing the shark until later in the movie. The tension, the suspense, the soundtrack, it's all a masterpiece. A remake of this film would just feel, well, like a giant fish out of water. Can you imagine a CG shark terrorizing the beach? It just wouldn't have the same intensity. The original holds a special place in the hearts of audiences, and no modern-day shark is going to match the suspense of Spielberg's creation. Number 4. The Shawshank Redemption 1994. It's hard to imagine anyone trying to remake The Shawshank Redemption. Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman delivered some of the most powerful performances ever seen in a prison drama. The storytelling, the message of hope, and the incredible bond between the characters are things that just cannot be duplicated. The film is a modern classic, and remaking it would be like trying to recapture lightning in a bottle. The Shawshank Redemption is one of those films you turn to when you need a pick-me-up. A remake. Not a chance. It's perfect the way it is, and trying to improve on it would be an exercise in futility. Number 5. Forrest Gump 1994. Tom Hanks' portrayal of Forrest Gump is so iconic that it's hard to even picture anyone else in the role. The film's heartwarming, emotional journey through history, personal triumph, and the innocence of its protagonist struck a chord with audiences worldwide. A remake would simply fail to capture the spirit and charm that Hanks brought to the role. It's a film that's become a part of our culture, and changing it is a no-go. Can you picture anyone else saying, "Life is like a box of chocolates"? Probably not. Hanks made that line legendary, and a remake would just make us miss him even more. Let's keep Forrest Gump untouched, please. Number 6. The Princess Bride 1987. A fairy tale adventure like no other, The Princess Bride is beloved for its quirky characters, sharp dialogue, and perfect blend of romance, action, and comedy. The chemistry between Robin Wright and Carrie Elwes, the unforgettable quotes, and the memorable scenes make it one of the most rewatchable films of all time. A remake would just seem unnecessary. It's one of those films that has a specific, timeless charm. The witty lines, the iconic moments, they just wouldn't hit the same if a new cast tried to recreate them. The Princess Bride is already perfect, so why mess with it? It's a classic for a reason. Number 7. Citizen Kane 1941. Often regarded as the greatest film of all time, Citizen Kane set the bar for cinematic storytelling and film techniques. Orson Welles' groundbreaking work has stood the test of time, influencing countless filmmakers. A remake would not only be sacrilegious, it would also fail to capture the revolutionary nature of the original. The story of Charles Foster Kane's rise and fall is one that's timeless, and no modern adaptation could possibly live up to the original. Citizen Kane is often studied in film schools for a reason. If you can't beat it, don't bother trying to remake it. The magic of that film lies in the innovation that no modern remake could replicate. Number 8. The Terminator, 1984. James Cameron's The Terminator is one of the most influential sci-fi films ever made. Arnold Schwarzenegger's performance as the relentless cyborg is iconic, and the plot introduced audiences to the fascinating concept of time travel, machines, and artificial intelligence. Remaking The Terminator would just feel like a hollow attempt to cash in on nostalgia. The original had the perfect mix of action, suspense, and innovation that no modern take could replicate. The idea of a new Terminator. Who needs it when we already have the perfect Arnold? Let's keep the franchise as it is, classic, legendary, and iconic. Number 9. Pulp Fiction, 1994. Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction is a genre-defining movie. The non-linear storytelling, the unforgettable dialogue, and the brilliant ensemble cast made a revolutionary film. It's one of those rare movies that can't be remade because it's so uniquely Tarantino. The cultural impact and the way it changed the face of modern cinema are unmatched. Pulp Fiction is the kind of movie you don't touch unless you want to be crucified by fans. The dialogue alone would be impossible to recreate. And let's face it, no one else is going to bring the same level of cool that Travolta, Uma Thurman, and Samuel L. Jackson brought to the screen. Number 10. The Dark Knight, 2008. Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is widely regarded as one of the best superhero movies ever made. Heath Ledger's Joker is iconic. Christian Bale's Batman is legendary. And the film's blend of action, suspense, and philosophical depth made it a masterpiece. A remake? No chance. The performances, the direction, and the cultural impact of this film are so powerful that attempting to reimagine it would only disappoint. The Dark Knight is one of those films that changed the superhero genre forever. A remake would only serve to remind us that Heath Ledger's Joker can't be duplicated. No one will ever capture that same magic. Some movies just shouldn't be remade, period. They've already left their mark on cinema and culture in such a way that attempting to recreate them would feel like a pale imitation of something perfect. The films we've talked about today have earned their place in movie history, and trying to replicate their magic would be a mistake. So let's keep these classics untouched and preserve their legacy for future generations to enjoy. If you agree with our list or have your own thoughts on which films should be left alone, drop a comment below.